is we're going to do a very brief overview about iron and iron projects, but really we wanted to introduce you to a lot of special opportunities that are coming up starting in September as we prepare for the new academic year and project cycle. So you'll learn about some online courses that we have coming up in September, as well as iron learning circles. And then we're going to share a bit more about iron projects by spotlighting or highlighting a couple projects that you may consider joining for the upcoming year. And then we'll conclude with a short overview and tips on how you can choose a project to join, and more information about how you join if you're not currently an iron member, or if you already are an iron member, some tips to get started in joining a project. Okay, so if you're joining this webinar and you don't know a whole lot about iron yet, this is just an overview. We're at iron celebrating 30 years as an organization. So 30 years of connecting and collaborating around the world. So we started in 1988 with schools in the United States and in New York State with the Soviet Union in Moscow, at that time the Soviet Union. And there were high school classes that were connecting using the technology available at the time to work on projects together. So you can see some pictures there from what technology tools we used back in 1988 between the two countries during the height of the Cold War, when there was a great misunderstanding between the two. So now in 2018, we are connected in more than 140 countries and have over 50,000 educators and 2 million youth connecting and collaborating, working on projects online. So with the advance of technology, there are so many more tools out there now to connect us. And we've gone from just the first few projects to now over 100 projects in iron. Okay, so this webinar is all about our upcoming projects for the 2018-2019 academic year. This is just an overview. We have about 100 teacher designed and facilitated projects that run every year. And all of the projects take place in iron's Collaboration Center. It's our hub of activity with discussion forums, video and photo sharing, where participants come together and work on projects and connect across different time zone differences, different countries around the world. So we do have math projects, science projects, history, social studies, creative and language arts projects that connect teachers and students from kindergarten and elementary school all the way up through high school, and even some future teachers participating in projects. So we're very fortunate today to have a couple of the facilitators with us who are going to highlight some of the projects, so you get a peek at what sort of different activities you could do with your class that are coming up in the next few months. All of these projects that we have in iron are connected with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and they must answer this question: how will this project improve the quality of life on the planet? So this is what connects and binds the 100 projects across all of the different age levels and subject areas. Is we're connecting people to make a difference in the world, to build bridges of understanding, and to improve the quality of life in their communities. Okay, I'm going to pause for a moment, and we're going to talk about a special opportunity. My colleague Rachel is going to share about our online educators course that we have starting up in September. Go ahead, Rachel.
Hello, everyone. I see some familiar names on there, some of you that we were just with at the conference. It's so great to see you active again, and some new names that I'm excited for you to join and hear more about iron projects this fall and this school year. I did want to share a really fantastic opportunity that we have this fall for educators. We have opened our online educators course to all educators in our network. It is an introductory course to global collaboration and iron projects. It will run September to November of this year, and we'll run another round of the same course in the spring. You can see the exact dates there on the slides. The fee for the course is $400 US, but we are fortunate enough to get some financial support and sponsorship for this opportunity. And so we do have some financial assistance available for those of you that are interested in this professional development opportunity, but may be unable to afford the entire cost. Please don't hesitate to share your interest in this course. It is an online course that takes place in the Collaboration Center, and educators learn about global collaboration, about how to integrate an iron project into their classroom for the first time, how to prepare students for global collaboration and online projects, and allows educators to network with quite a few other global educators that are doing the same work as them. So again, this course is now open. Registration goes through September 5th. I will put in the chat box a link for you to register, but if you have any questions about joining, feel free to email us at pd@us.iearn.org, or type any questions you might have into the chat box and share this opportunity with any educators in your network, colleagues that you think might be interested in learning more about iron projects and integrating them into their classroom. I have a question right away I can answer. When does the spring online course take place? So that will start in February. It typically runs about February to April. So we'll start opening registration probably in the end of December for the spring course. We also have a few special sections that are dedicated to a partnership between the US and Turkey. So if you are a US educator and you're interested in connecting with a classroom in Turkey, we have some financial aid specific to one of our course sections that's dedicated to connecting teachers from those two countries. And we also have a section that's going to be dedicated to teachers that are living and teaching in the Americas. So if you are a teacher in the US, in Central America, and South America, this would be a great opportunity for you to engage in an online course with teachers from those regions. All right, so please feel free to put in any questions you have, and I will put the link with more information to the course in the chat box. Thanks.
Thanks, Rachel. And thanks for sharing about the special new opportunity that we have that's open to everyone in the network. We're really excited to make this available to all countries for the September course start date. If you're a beginner in iron and you're looking for a special project, and maybe not an online course for educators, this next opportunity coming up might be the right fit for you. In iron, we have what are called iron learning circles, which are special groupings of schools around particular themes and topic areas. So as part of a learning circle, you're partnered up with about 6 to 8 classes. You're all working in a specific theme area and on a set timeline. So you can see here the timeline is from September 30th to January 15th. There's a couple examples of the themes as well, from global issues environment or global issues education to My Hero project or the Early People Symbol project. There's about 8 different learning circle themes. This semester, there's a special learning circle that is opening specifically for elementary school classes to connect and collaborate. It will be a slightly shorter timeline that will end the beginning of December. So if you're an elementary school teacher, I'd encourage you to check it out. Have Rachel post the link in the chat as well, or we'll follow up with the link so you can go and read all about the circles and sign up for one of them. We really encourage this type of project for beginners as it's very structured and it helps you match with partners and connect on common themes. Okay, so before we pass over to some of our project facilitators who have joined us for today's webinar, I just wanted to give a brief overview and highlight of the different types of iron projects that we've had. So Rachel spoke about online courses, which are for educators, and I just shared about learning circles, which is the group the grouping of 6 to 8 classes on a common theme. That's great for beginners. Now, in the next projects that we highlight, you're going to see a couple examples of projects that are based on partnerships, which is connecting specifically 2 schools in a project together, such as the Teddy Bear Project, and the book club for some connections, and a few other projects as well that do sort of a one-to-one matching. Then there are many other iron projects where the timeline is flexible, and you may have up to 30 classes participating at a given time, and all contributing to the development of the project. So we'll share about these different types of projects, and so you can get an idea of how different teachers and classes in the network are connecting and collaborating with one another, as there's many different entry points and ways for people to be engaged and involved. Okay, so our project spotlights that we have today is we'll start off with Daffodils and Tulips and Talking Kites, and we are fortunate to have Ruti from Israel who's joined us to share about those 2 projects. We are going to share also about the Teddy Bear Project. Faye Stump from West Virginia is joining to share about the International Book Club and International Film Club. And then we'll look at 2 other project examples, Solar Explorers, which is good for sort of the STEM field area for science connections, and Girl Rising. So without further ado, I'm going to pause and give us a moment to get Ruti set up with the microphone so she can share about the Daffodils and Tulips.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Ruti. We can hear you well.
Good. First, I will say shalom as we greet our friends all over the world. I am from Israel. And the first project I want to show you and to call you to participate is Tulips and Daffodils project. In this project, students and teachers all over the world, only the north part of the world, are planting bulbs of tulips or daffodils in the last week of November every year. So this is it will be the 10th year that we are running this project. So from planning the bulbs on the last week of November, every group is watching what happened with the bulbs, how they grow. They are sending data to the phone, and by this project they can study what I call, or what we call PBL. It means, first of all, it's science. So it is biology, mathematics, geographic, and so on. But also we can implement art, for example. There are classes that are waiting till something will happen because it's a heavy winter in their place, so they can do some art activities during the time that they are waiting, like origami, like music, like stories, etc. Before beginning the project, each group is setting a question. For example, what will make the change if I watering the bulbs, or if I am not watering the bulbs? Or what will happen to my tulips or daffodils if they are in the sun or in the shadow? Or what will happen if they are in the room or outside. Of course, it's not a competition who will bloom first, because it depends on the climate. But we know that it takes at least 2 months till blooming in our place, or even 5 months in other places. What I can say from other years, that students like this project very much, and it gives opportunity to all of them to participate, because one can take pictures, one can write, one can measure, one can whatever. I am calling you to participate. So it will be planting in the last week of November. Thank you. Okay, this is the second project that I am calling you to participate. It is the 12th year that we are running this project. The name is Talking Kites in the Footsteps of Janusz Korczak. You can see the two pictures. They are saying this, the whole idea. On the left, it's Janusz Korczak. I am not going to speak now about Janusz Korczak, but I will be very happy if during the project you will study about him and about his books and about his ideas. And on the left is on the day that we are all around the world, that we are flying the kites. It's the 21st of March every year. And you can see this photo took place in New York, and it is snowing. And in other places, like in our country, it will be almost the winter is gone. Most of the idea of this project is about children's rights. And that's why we are flying the kites on the 21st of March, when the day and the night are equal. And as Korczak said in one of his books, every child has the right to have a swing, and every girl has the right to have a doll. But if the times are difficult, let the wind give them a kite. So please join us. You have to begin 2 months before the 21st of March, and you are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy, so much for going first and sharing about these two great projects. It's incredible to hear the years of history that these projects have been going on in Iron. So thank you so much for sharing. The next project we're going to look at is the Teddy Bear Exchange. Over the past few months, a few project facilitators created small videos to introduce their project. So I'm going to play one of them now. It's a quick 2-minute video about the Teddy Bear project, which is it's a great exchange, typically good for younger learners, but also everyone, older learners in middle and high school as well, really enjoy this project. So we're going to hear from Maria from Long Island, New York, who's the project facilitator, about the Teddy Bear project. And I hope the sound and video work out okay.
Welcome to the Teddy Bear Project. Come learn about the world through our project, where classes are partners in sharing about their cultures. The goal of this project is to foster tolerance and understanding of cultures and people. After teachers register, the facilitator matches you with a partner class. Decide how and when the partner classes will collaborate, then the soft toy will be sent on its way. Teachers, make sure you understand the cost of sending the stuffed toy and the custom requirements to avoid any problems with the package being received. Once the toy is received is where the fun begins. Students typically will take their friend on adventures throughout the school and their community. They will write what the stuffed toy has been doing and share regularly with their partner class. Regular communication is necessary for the project to be successful. Teachers and students can consider communicating through the Iron Project Forum, email, or other platforms available. The most enriching partnerships are where communication is constant and the teachers have planned out how they want to communicate ahead of time. The project runs through the school year and typically begins at the beginning of the school year and ends before the end of the school term. The learning possibilities are endless, and what the students learn through this project stays with them for years to come. Join us. We look forward to meeting you and collaborating with you on our project forum.
Great, so that was just a quick peek at the Teddy Bear Project, great introduction project for all ages. And that was a model built on partnership. And now we're going to turn it over to Faye Stump, who's joined us as well, to share about the next two projects as our project spotlights, the International Book Club and the Film Club. And Faye, just let me know when you want me to advance the slides.
Can you hear me?
Great, thank you.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great, okay. Hi everyone, I'm happy to join you today. I've got two projects that I'd like to share with you. They're relatively new and we've made some changes to them this year. The first is the International Book Club, and it's about getting readers connected about their reading. No matter what you teach, I'm sure that you engage your students in reading on a regular basis. So this is a way that you can incorporate your reading curriculum or the content of what you teach to connect students to global partners who are also reading and to help them learn more about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and also helping them to see how they can learn so much through the books that they read about global issues, about humanitarian issues, and how they can also make a change and do things to help solve those problems. This year we're offering two approaches, and you can decide which approach you want, or you can participate in both. There's a lot of flexibility in this project, lots of choices that you can make. Okay, so the first approach is what we call the teacher partnerships. And if you are interested in connecting with one teacher and working with that teacher for an extended period of time on different book projects, if you click on the teacher partnership folder in the book club folder, the first thing you would do would be to introduce yourself, and other teachers would also introduce themselves, and you'd form a partnership. We would encourage you to get to know your teacher partner well and to plan your activities using Zoom, using email, and you can decide what books you want to read, how often you want to collaborate with each other on your reading, whether you want to do projects and have the students work on projects together. I mean, basically, you make all the decisions. You decide what you want to do. The facilitators will certainly help you. We'll establish a folder, which will provide a space for you and your partner to engage your students in discussion questions or in project work. So it's just complete freedom to partner with someone and connect about the reading that you're doing. You would decide your timelines and how much time you want to allocate for each activity. The second option is for you to join other teachers in reading one or more of our featured books. And each featured book will provide you with a lesson plan that will guide you and your students in pre-reading, in reading, and in collaboration activities following the reading. We'll use the featured book space in the project forum for virtual exchange. There'll be a folder for each book, and whatever, doesn't matter how many teachers join this project, all of them would have their students share by discussing questions that we will post in the project space. We will also try to plan some video conferences that are related to the book, and we will give you some ideas for extension activities, things that your students can do related to the books, and give you a space to share those projects with each other. Okay, on the next slide, you'll see a picture of some of the featured books that we're going to start the year off with. For those of you that attended the IRON conference in Virginia this summer, you may have heard Dr. Fernando Reimers speak. He was one of the keynote speakers, and he graciously has given us access to his book, The Story of Philomena, in 8 different languages. So in the International Book Club Forum, under the featured book space, we have a lesson plan, and we have links to the Story of Philomena in those 8 different languages, so your students could read it in their native language. They could read it in another language that they're learning. So there's no problem with access to the books. Everyone will have access. In the project, it's a wonderful picture book about Dr. Reimers' pet parakeet named Philomena, and students will get to know each other as they write about pets that they have and what customs or traditions surrounding pet ownership exist in their countries. But Philomena, in her cage, observes the world around her, where she lives in Boston with Fernando, and we'll also be asking the students to observe what they notice in the world, and discussing some of the things that Philomena observes. So if you are interested in having your students read that book, you would join us in that project space. Picture books, many people sometimes think that they're just for elementary students or for young students, but I taught both middle school and high school English for years and used picture books frequently with older students as well. So the picture books that we select for the International Book Club will be applicable to all ages. The second book that we're going to feature in October is written by Hannah Khan, who's a Pakistani American who lives in Rockville, Maryland. And I've had some contact with her, and she's very excited to share some of her books with us. She visits schools in the United States, helps students here to appreciate Muslim culture and traditions, and her books help to promote that. The first of these is Golden Domes and Silver Lanterns. It's a Muslim book of colors. It's available in digital form, so if you can't obtain a print copy, I know that that's a problem in some countries, you can on Amazon get it rather inexpensively in digital form and share it with your students in that way. The students will do some creative activities. After reading this book, they'll share a story about colors in their own culture and traditions, among other activities that we have planned. We hope to have a video conference with Hannah so that students may interview her about her culture, her writing, and her work. The next book that we're going to feature in September and October is a book that was very popular in the book club last year. It's called A Long Walk to Water, and so we've decided to feature it again. I haven't met a student or a teacher who has read this book who hasn't absolutely loved it. It's set in Sudan. It helps us to understand the water crisis there and the challenges the lost boys of Sudan endured. It's a great read aloud. When I taught 7th grade, I read a chapter a day to my 7th graders, and they never wanted me to stop reading it. So even if you just have one copy, it would be a great book to share with your students. And we'll decide on other featured books as the year progresses. Perhaps you have a favorite and you'd like to help us write a lesson plan for it. We really encourage you to give us suggestions and to communicate with us about how we can help the International Book Club to grow. We'd love to have your input. The next project I'd like to talk to you about is called the International Film Club. And it originated whenever, if we could go to the next slide, Jennifer. Yeah, it originated in the, whenever I was introduced to a teacher in Morocco by the name of Khaled Fedi by a professor in New York. Her name is Helene Marshall, and they had been working together and using film in a flipped learning approach to teach English language skills. And they did so successfully, but they were interested in doing so in collaboration with students in other countries. And that's how the film club was formed. It's a relatively new club. It's going to work very much like the book club with the same two choices. Films are a great way to engage students in recognizing social injustice and in learning about topics related to the Sustainable Development Goals. And you'll see with a couple of the examples that I'll give you, but again, just like the book club, you can establish a partner relationship with one teacher. And Dr. Marshall has done a lot of work with her multicultural framework in working with English language learners and diverse populations. And she stresses the importance of working and building relationships and getting to know one another before beginning to discuss the content. So we really encourage teachers and students to get to know one another, and then as they view films and discuss themes and do projects related to those themes, they will learn as well as continuing to build their relationships. The second option is the featured films project. And we have selected 4 for this year, and you can see them there on the screen. And I've got some keywords that help you to see how you might tie them into your curriculum. We're going to begin with Coach Carter, which is an older but popular movie in the United States about a basketball coach who suspends his entire basketball team, even though they're close to winning a championship. And he does so because of their poor performance in school. This is based on a true story that actually happened. We're hoping that students enjoy sharing about the extracurricular activities in their lives, and then debating about whether extracurricular activities are as important as academics, or whether, like Coach Carter, they think that academics is more important. One of the environmental science teachers at Hanley and a very active iEarn member, Laura Sabatina, last year asked us to use Before the Flood as one of our films, and there were several classes that participated in viewing and discussing it. In this movie, actor Leonardo DiCaprio meets with scientists, activists, and world leaders to discuss the dangers of climate change and some possible solutions. And so this would be a wonderful film for students who wanted to work with the topic of climate change or for like environmental science courses. Hoping to get Laura working with us on this film again. There's an organization, a nonprofit called SEMA, Social Impact Media Awards, and they have partnered with us again this year to give us access to 2 short award-winning documentaries. One is entitled Kayayo, the Living Shopping Baskets. And it's about what takes place in the capital of Ghana. There are about 10,000 girls as young as 6 years old that work as real-life shopping carts, carrying around large trays on their heads for the women in the markets to put their goods in. The girls earn very little money, and the massive weight of the trays often becomes such a strain on their tiny necks. So this documentary gives us insight into the lives of these girls. It helps us to see how gender equality, girl rising, the need for girls to be able to have the opportunity to go to school and not be used in this way at such a young age. I haven't seen the last movie, which is called 1,000 Suns, but it's also given to us through SEMA, and it's a film about the Gamo people who live in the African Rift Valley of southwestern Ethiopia. And they have been farming sustainably for over 10,000 years. And this film features their work and what we can learn from it in our farming communities. We're working on the lesson plans for these films. They're not completely finished, but we will share them with you in the International Film Club Forum, so you can adapt the lesson plans to meet your needs, but we hope that you will join us to view at least one film during this school year with your students and connecting with students who are viewing the same films. Hope you enjoy whatever iron project work you decide to do. It's a wonderful way to engage students and help them learn about the world. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Faye. I'm already making my plans to join the book club and the film club and to get the Iron USA staff to follow along. It's such important topics tied to the Sustainable Development Goals in both projects, and really great themes for the year. I'm excited to see how they develop. Just a quick note to our participants, at the end I will pull up the Collaboration Center and show you how to search and find all of these projects we're speaking about. We'll also send email out to the participants as you've registered with your email. We'll follow up with you with links to projects and opportunities so you can easily connect and join. And I know Rachel's been posting some in the chat box as we go as well. Great. I'm actually going to share about the next project on behalf of our team in Australia. It's a very early hour of the day in Australia right now, but the Iron Australia team asked me to share about the Solar Explorers project that is starting up this September as well. And this is a really cool project that looks at the Sustainable Development Goal number 7, how to ensure access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy for all. And students, as part of this, they look at different alternative energy sources, and particularly they look at solar energy by making and testing solar cookers as one of the project activities through this theme. So students will make these solar cookers, they'll test them out and cook real things, and compare the results with their peers. Just to give you a peek at the activities, they start, of course, as Faye mentioned, all projects should start with a good introduction so you get to know your project partners and who you're working with. They do research on the theme, on the SDG, and on alternative energy sources. And then they do design and create the solar cookers. You see a couple pictures here of solar cookers being made by some of the participating schools. And then they use the solar cooker to actually cook food, and they give each other feedback on the design and evaluate the results as a group. So this one, they've started with the introductions in August. It's not too late to join. If you're joining in September, you should be able to join in, and it will run through December 2018. So this project's been successfully running for a few years now as well. Really great for building skills in STEM if you're a science teacher, or have themes of engineering or math in your curriculum. This is a great project to explore. Okay. Oh. And I'm going to pause just for a moment and reset something. Please bear with me. And while I do so, just an apologies. I had a problem with my video and not sure what happened there. But give me just a moment and we'll get set with the next project to share about. Okay, and while you're waiting for me to reset the slideshow here, Mary Brownell, the project facilitator of Finding Solutions to Hunger, is going to join us and share about the project. So Mary, if you want to pop on the microphone, test it out, make sure it's working. I think Rachel will set you up with a microphone access.
All right, can you hear me, Jen?
Beautiful, yes, okay.
All right, wonderful.
And I think we're right back on track. So let me just hit it back in present mode and mute myself. And thank you, Mary, so much for joining to share about finding solutions to hunger.
My pleasure. I'm sorry. I think I might have missed the timing for slides, but I'm happy to introduce the project a little bit and invite anybody to share the information with colleagues and students in the hopes that you will join for the coming year at any time. Finding solutions to hunger has been aligned, well, has been around for years before the sustainability goals, but it is well connected to the second goal, which is zero hunger. And all of the lessons and activities are definitely geared to help students from K through 12 to be engaged and involved in both learning about the root causes of hunger and also to take action in whatever ways locally in communities and schools and towns and areas as well as on a global scale. One of the things I wanted to be sure to mention is that we have really found a way to have students who are learning English as a second language to be posting much more in the forums and having others respond to their work. So there is no need at all for students to be fluent in English in order to participate whatsoever. And again, there's great flexibility in the length of time one can participate and also at any time joining. There are teachers who have aligned themselves, and we help with that with just one other partner school. And many more teachers we found who are working in collaborative groups and moving their students in and out as they complete lessons and activities, which has worked very well in fruitful ways to explore the whole idea that hunger is not just something that we need to learn about. It's something that many of the students are experiencing themselves and sharing about that. One of the things that came up this last year was an area in Uganda very much involved in solar cookers, and we were in touch with some of the teachers in that project. So I was so happy to hear about that from you, Jennifer, and just be reminded of that. I also wanted to invite teachers who may have, you can switch to the next slide. I think these were some comments collected by a group of students we have formed into a small unit called Student Ambassadors. And they are students from in Algeria and Qatar who have completed activities and lessons as part of their curriculums with their teachers, and they have wanted to extend their activities in the project. And so we have built in ambassador guidelines, and they are groups of students inviting other students to welcome students who become new to the project. They are moving among different posts, commenting, inviting a greater response. And so there's now a second level to participation that's student-led and student-organized that I just oversee from a distance and guide on the side. So that if there's any interest by teachers and colleagues who have students who are looking for leadership roles, that is available within the project too, and wanted to be sure to mention that. I loved the strength in these comments of these students as volunteers. I think I had one more, did I have one more slide? I thought I had, no. All right, so please welcome to the project and thank you all very much. Thanks, Jennifer and Rachel.
Thanks, Mary, and apologies if I missed a slide in there in setting up.
No problem.
I'm going to, I think I fixed my video. Thanks, Rachel, for helping me out. I'm gonna switch over now to do some screen shares of the Collaboration Center to show you how to search and find and join projects in just a moment. I was going to share another project video on Girl Rising, but we'll share the thread with a couple of the new videos that have been made following this webinar by email, so you can go and check it out in the interest of time. So before I switch over to the Collaboration Center, just a couple notes on how you choose and join a project. Of course, with any project that you join, you want to make sure it aligns with the classroom goals and objectives that you have and the content and skills you're trying to teach for the year. So you can search by different subject areas or different age groups or languages to help sort of refine and based on that. We do have a project book that's up online, or I will show you in a minute how you can search all of the projects in the Collaboration Center to get an overview of what they are. So check out the search by subject areas to find something that may align. Also consider your students' interests if they're particularly interested in a global issue. Drawing on that interest in finding the right project fit. I'll show you as well about a couple of the forums where you can go and look for partners. So perhaps you choose a project based on some partnerships that you build in the forums. If you're not a current IRON member, I will show you in just a minute how you join. And it's very easy. There's an online registration form that I'll show you where you can connect. Once you're connected, as I mentioned, going to the teachers forum and connecting with other teachers to see what they're doing related to specific subjects you may be interested or theme areas. And then on this webinar, we are very fortunate to have some of our STAR project facilitators join us and share about the projects that they're running. In each project, you'll see who the facilitators are, and you can connect with them individually on email if you're not sure about the Collaboration Center yet, and they'll be willing to help you sort of get started and find access to the resources to plan your participation. So all of the facilitators are volunteers, and they're educators around the world, and we're very thankful to have them leading us with their wisdom and experience through these project exchanges. Okay, so I am going to switch over to the Collaboration Center now. Okay, so in the IRON Collaboration Center, there is a tab called Collaboration, and that's where we have all of the projects and forums and activities taking place. So you'll see at the top that you can log in with your username and password if you have it. If you are not yet a member, you just click join, and it will take you to the page where you can connect, and you can fill out the registration form, and each member is individually approved into IRON. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. You don't need to log in to search the projects. You can search and read the descriptions of all of the projects without a login. But I'm going to go ahead and log in for now. If you are a member, there's some very helpful resources that are on your dashboard as soon as you log in. There's a getting started guide, the tutorials, a teacher's guide, and some links to some basics for using the forum that are very helpful. Also want to highlight the teachers forum. This is a space where you can connect with others who may be looking for project partners, maybe looking to start new projects, or just seeing who's out there in the community. And likewise, there's a youth forum as well. Okay, so from here, and again, if you have a login or if you don't, you can search the projects if you click on the projects tab. And this is where you'll be able to find the different projects that you've learned about today, as well as search for other projects that might be related. So Faye Stump shared with us about the International Book Club. So you can click here and read about the project and read about the goals and the activities and see if it's a good fit for you to get started. I'm going to go back to the project search and show another one. we're going to look at perhaps teddy bear project, for example. So again, you can search and find them. If you don't know the names of the projects, I'll show you how to search by subject areas in a minute. And again, each project has facilitators that you can connect with. We heard the video from Maria. There's a homepage. Forum is where all of the activities and discussions take place. And then if you want to find out more about the project and a bigger description, you can click on the About Resources page. Okay, so that's if you wanted to look up a specific name of a project that you know exists. Also in the search, you can search by language or by subject area. Perhaps if you're interested in history, you could search and see sort of the projects that may have a historical element to them, like the Early People Symbol project, which looks at symbols of Native Americans and earlier descendants in our different countries around the world. And then a local history project, another great project exploring your local history and connecting it as a theme around the world. Okay, so that's a good way you can find and sort and learn about different projects based on different focus areas. And you can also sort by age if you're looking for a specific age group. So here with math, you see daffodils and tulips, as Ruti has shared about some of the different applications of that project and how it can connect across the sciences and math as well. Global math and global ratio project as well. Okay, so I'm going to pause there and we'll turn it over to Q&A. As we do, I'm just gonna click our last slide. If you have questions, you can connect with us at a couple different emails, but this one's handy as well, memberships@us.iron.org. Rachel and I both respond, so that's a good way to connect. And we will, again, be following up with an email with some helpful links for some of the projects mentioned today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop our share and check out our chat box. Thanks again to everyone for joining. I know you were asking questions along the way. If you have a question that you'd like to ask at this point, you can use the raise your hand, type it in the chat box. Anything you'd like to connect and ask us questions. Again, thank you to all of our attendees for joining us today. It's so great to see so many people from around the world connecting. It was very happy to have so many facilitators sharing as well. Again, I'm going to put in our chat box the emails if you would like to follow up after this webinar with a question. Memberships@us.iron.org is a good way to get a hold of the Iron USA team. And if you're interested specifically in the online course coming up, there's the second email, pd@us.iron.org, where you can connect with us. Great, so thank you again for joining. We'll be signing off. We'll share the webinar recording, and we're also going to be re-hosting the same webinar in a couple weeks, perhaps featuring a couple other projects. So stay tuned for those announcements, and have a great evening. If you are starting school, we wish you the best as you plan a fun year for you and your students, and hope that you connect with us and other classes around the world in the Iron Network. So thank you, and have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are around the world. Thank you, thank you.